Set up and their press. You can see already they're going for the press again, but it's about finding those moments.
So don't forget, tomorrow night, Sydney Super Cup continues here on Paramount Plus. We have got Sydney FC taking on Tottenham Hotspur. So just confirming those changes. Putting it on for Kavuma McQueen. The only change for Chelsea. Western Sydney with 3. Vidakovic coming into the game in goal. Hammond replaced by Milanovic. Hammond was so impressive in that first half. You wonder whether he was told by Ufi Talay, you'll get 45 minutes. Well, he made the most of it. So too did Liam Gillian, to be fair. Former Auckland player. He gets a breather. We'll see what Morata can do for Ufi Talay in this second half. Press coming again from Borello. Interesting to see as well, Eric, when does Xabi Alonso go to his superstars on the bench? Gatamas, Esteval, etc.
They are warming up as we speak, and you can hear the crowd getting right behind the goal there, and the expectation is for them to come on and win the game.
So Nicol Jazuli has also come into the game, the Aussie-born youngster here for Chelsea in 32. So keep an eye on him, the 16-year-old Artie Nicol Jazuli, who was born to an Australian mother and Sudanese father. He was born in Sydney before moving to England.
Well, it's not an area you want to give away a free kick, albeit a soft one from Cicluna, but this is a dangerous situation. New goalkeeper on the pitch and an expert dead ball specialist standing over it.
Well, who will it be to take here? Looks as though it's the 16-year-old Reggie Watson, who joined Chelsea from Crystal Palace in under-15s. It's bizarre we're talking about under-15s, isn't it? Shows you the quality of these young players. So the 16-year-old in Reggie Watson standing over it. Landon Emanalo, another option, but it is Watson. He just calls it wide of the target.
Well, the under-16 England international. First sight at goal there, and look at the stance. Parallel to the ball, trying to whip it up and around the wall, not going over. It gets over Thurgate, and that was travelling. Vidakovic was nowhere to be seen in that view.
Well, Ufi Talay's got some good depth in the goalkeeping ranks. Vidakovic there. Lawrence Thomas, who's not playing tonight, he's been away a little bit in the pre-season, got married as well, I believe, so he's just come back into the fray in the last week, so yeah, congratulations to Lawrence Thomas. He was on a FIFA course as well during the World Cup, so no doubt we'll be back ready to roll for Western Sydney in the coming weeks. Here's Pantazopoulos. Flag comes up against Borello.
You can just see the movement there from the back line of Chelsea. They know exactly what they're trying to achieve, and they see one player straying off into that position. Tosin, the captain, just stepping up in the middle and making life difficult and squeezing the game, but they're having a little bit of trouble here. Look at the Wanderers players all stepping forward.
So Sharman Lowe just has to launch it forward. Pantazopoulos in a tangle there with Delap. Now Daniel Elder has spotted a free kick, and even in a friendly, Xabi Alonso, he turns away quite frustrated and says a few words to the fourth official.
Yes.
Beautiful. It's great to see. One of the world's best footballers basically completed it as a player, and now as a coach, it's a really big season for him, because he's at a club that didn't perform that well in the Premier League last year, finishing 10th. So he knows the big job that's at his disposal, and they've got to try and get themselves going here in this game. But it's always difficult when you've got a lot of young players and new players to work with and begin with. This is the first step in the right direction, but they've conceded 2 goals here.
Here's some pressure on Charman Low from Dupizio. Just on that stat, Eric, it's the most goals they've conceded on an Australian tour against Australian opposition. Conceded twice against an Australian representative side back in 1965. And they also conceded 2 against a Northern New South Wales select side back in 1965 as well. Up in Newcastle, that one.
Well, you love that one, don't you, Benny? Well, look, for Chelsea, they played 59 games in all competitions last campaign. It's so much football, and that debate rages on about how much football is too much football. And with the squad that they have, the size that they brought here to Australia, you would expect that a lot of these players will see serious minutes this campaign. That's why Xabi Alonso, he needs to see them here, and he needs to see them under pressure.
One thing they don't see a lot of in England is pitches that have been used by rugby league and are a bit chewed up, and you can see there that ball really spat off the turf. It's a little bit chunky in parts. It's Madana with the early delivery. What a chance for Borrello there, running in at the near post to make it 3-2 for Western Sydney. Still another chance here potentially brewing. Madana around the outside. Milanovic earns a corner, and this is bright from Western Sydney to begin the second half.
Panache Madana did not get enough minutes last season for Adelaide. That's a super ball in. Almost had Borrello getting a little nick here on his head at the near post. It's a great run forward. Well defended in the end from Chelsea. But the Wanderers, here they are applying pressure yet again.
So Milanovic, that left-footed corner, hangs it up. Barry was there at the back post. Sapayev with the clearance. Mixed up awkwardly there for Cicluna. Hard to trust the surface in that section of the pitch, and they get a little bit fortunate there. Western Sydney as it hit the heel of Reggie Walsh. Barry, well, it wasn't the worst option because Borrello was in a good pocket of space, but was just marginally coming back onside.
But it was forced because Chelsea made the game really small. The back line had squeezed up. The forward line had dropped in to make it really compact. That'll at least please Xabi Alonso. That's part of their strategy this year, is to go and squeeze and make sure teams don't get a minute to breathe in the middle of the park. The problem is the Wanderers are doing the exact same thing. Nice piece of skill there against the sideline. So the pressure again telling from Western Sydney. Milanovic looking for that release of Borrello. Charman Low across the other side of Accor Stadium. We'll head down to the sideline with Narlene Masto. Narlene, you've got some information about what both coaches said at half-time.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. Well, I've been told that we'll start to see the likes of Estavao and Palmer come on for at least half an hour, so around the 60th minute mark in this match. Now, as we know, this pre-season tour is a real chance for Xabi to start building that conditioning in his players, because Chelsea, they were outrun by in all but one of their matches in the Premier League last season, but he's also made it clear that the mental side is just as important as the work they put on in the training pitch. He's spoken about wanting to create mentality monsters, so it'll be intriguing to see how they manage this one.
Well, here's a chance to go back in front, and he flashes it wide of the top left corner. Landon Emanalo.
Well, that's exactly the position they want to find themselves in, getting space, everybody attracted to the ball, the Wanderers. And they did not see Emenalo, who gets a really good look at it. He should hit the target from there.
He's played international youth football with the US and England. The 17 US international, Emenalo. So Milanovic has to get on his bike and get across, and he does just in the nick of time. Now it's Emenalo doing the defending on Milanovic. And the stretch was well earned by Reggie Watson, who then wins the free kick.
A smart foul from Brendan Burlow, who's been energetic tonight. Big response needed from Western Sydney. He's the man to lead it. A lot of talk during the week, wearing the armband and having that hangover from last season as one of those players a part of the season. They've got to try and forget it, and this first showing really does erase some of those memories.
It's a little bit of a lucky deflection there for Kellyman. Barry's across, and the whistle comes from Daniel Elder. Limited opportunities tonight for Liam Delap. Just a little bit frustrated there. So, it was fairly agricultural, wasn't it, Eric?
Yeah, it certainly was. And that's what you come to expect. If you're not getting service, if you're not getting the ball, you've got to go and make some sort of impact on the game. And we've seen him once or twice get into scoring positions, Liam Delap.
Well, big season ahead for him. Just a couple of goals last season, so he will most certainly want to improve on that this season. One of the bright young English prospects.
Yeah, big hamstring injury last year as well kept him out. Remember his old man as well with that long throw.
Here comes Madana down to the byline. Yeah, just the 16 starts for Delap last season. So it's always hard, isn't it, when you're coming off the bench to really find rhythm.
Not bad when you score your first Champions League goal against Barcelona.
So, looks as though that's Marco Palestra just getting some instructions. The Italian. His youth football with Atalanta. In his first season with the Blues. So, Chelsea fans will get a look at him very, very soon, it would seem. Here's Milanovic. Madana. It's Borello central, little deflection. Spills for Borello, and Milanovic now for Thurgate. Just all got a little cumbersome there for Western Sydney. Barry steps in, here come the blue shirts. They're rushing forward, Pantazopoulos versus Delap. And Delap wins that shoulder-to-shoulder battle. Pantazopoulos returns. It's at Paev. It's between a couple of red and black shirts. It's footwork again. And that strike. Just not enough on it from Kellyman to trouble Vidakovic.
Yeah, again, just a little bit more connection with somebody on the edge of the box. It's all quite individual from Chelsea, trying to find that extra pass. But I think a lot of these players know maybe their time is coming to an end, so a little bit of extra exertion before they come off.
Well, Eric, I think there's a few fans in the stadium here getting pretty excited. There's some big names about to enter this match. Well, they have a deficit, though, to try and pull back, as Milanovic links with the... Oh, great strike from Atia Waraga. Stung the palms there. Sharman Lowe, who's unhappy with his defence.
Well, it opened up for him, didn't it? Great movement from Milanovic, just to open up that little yard of space for Waraga to pull the trigger. And it was a really good strike. It was moving all over the place. Sharman Lowe had to get down and had to make sure.
So Cole Palmer and Esteval getting ready to come into this game at the next stoppage, it would seem. Neatly worked by Western Sydney. Milanovic all the way across the face. Tosin with the clearance away now. Chelsea ready for the change. Well, Western Sydney, they don't want the change to take place. Well, they do and they don't, because they know there's a lot of quality about to come into this game. DePizio, Borrello on the turn. Just delayed a little too long, and Chelsea able to get reinforcements around the ball. Oh, that is a nice deflection for Western Sydney. Cicluna! Oh, luck's of fortune! But luck is when preparation meets opportunity. And what an opportunity that was from Dylan Cicluna. And didn't he make it count?
He's been up for it. He's really wanted to get on the end of something and make sure that his name goes up in lights and the flames go off in the background. It's been great viewing from the Western Sydney Wanderers. What a little piece of skill on the Harvey Norman replay. They don't clear their lines, and the footwork and the composure to stab it home from Dylan Cicluna, who's had his injury scares in the past, but he's back with a bang. This is going to be a big, big year for Dylan Cicluna.
And here come changes en masse. Cole Palmer coming into the game. Esteval as well, you can see him closest to the halfway line. And look at Western Sydney as well. Some changes coming, including Jared Carluccio, the Chelsea fan who gets up in the early hours of the morning here in Australia to watch his side play, including this man, Cole Palmer, who had an injury-interrupted season last year, a groin issue. Ended up meaning he missed the English World Cup squad. Esteval as well. He missed out on the World Cup with a hamstring tear. Didn't get the chance to go over to the US, Canada and Mexico with Brazil. Big loss for them. But a big win for Chelsea. You would think that these guys did miss the World Cup because they've had a little bit more time to rest those legs after a big season. So what impact can they have here as they look to fight back? From a 3-2 deficit, never have Chelsea been beaten in Australia by Australian opposition. Well, right now they are 3-2 behind, and some work to do here for some of their big names. What about some of these young Western Sydney Wanderers with an opportunity? I said Carluccio, but also Awan Lual, who is their leading goal scorer for their youth team, who are currently in season at the moment in Australia. And he scored 19 goals, the leading goal scorer in that NPL New South Wales competition. So he is sniffing some goals at the moment, Eric Partaloo, and he'll be excited to take on this Chelsea side.
And the Wanderers side in general. When's the last time we saw the Western Sydney Wanderers score 3 goals, let alone against Chelsea? It's just been that sort of night for them. Really re-energised under Ufuk Talay.
So floated over the top for Jamie Gittins, who's bearing down on goal. Vidakovic with the save, the follow-up from Esteval. Just fluffed his lines for Palmer. Oh, they're looking sharp now, Chelsea. Here's the Australian-born Nicole Trezuli. It's going to be all hands to the pump here for Western Sydney. And Solmino. Nicole Trezuli. 1-2 by Cole Palmer. Western Sydney able to clear it over the sideline. The intensity has just stepped up a notch, as you would expect. Lovely footwork. And there is the equaliser. It did not take long. João Pedro setting up the equaliser. And the introduction of the Stars. And it is 3-3.
Well, it didn't take long to throw a little bit of magic from the bench from Xabi Alonso. This is more like it from Chelsea FC. The movement there from Gittins playing forward, looking for Pedro. And it's the movement just to get forward and a step over. In this sort of position, can you find a teammate? When you get to that moment, a lot of players on the Harvey Norman replay would look to shoot. Not João Pedro. Composed as he likes, straight off the bench, ice cold. And so is the finish from Jamie Gittins. We're all square.
Gittins, who made his senior debut with Borussia Dortmund before arriving at Chelsea. And basically what we've seen in the last 5-6 minutes is we've seen a vast majority of the experienced players from Western Sydney leave the field. So they've got a very youthful side out there. And the Stars of Chelsea have arrived. So the match has flipped 180 degrees. Here's Palestra. Palmer lets it run. And now Jai Rose. A really impressive season last year did Jai Rose, getting his opportunity. Has 9 appearances. That's a lovely ball for Milanovic. And Milanovic low the wall there. Leading goal scorer in the youth team. He's earned them a corner kick here, Western Sydney.
End to end, and they go quickly from the short corner as well. It's great movement from Milanovic.
Milanovic drops it onto the head, and Robert Sanchez, he has to get involved here. But now's the problem for Western Sydney as they push forward and they swarm. Estevao, he's been dynamic since coming into this game. Now, Robert Sanchez, you might remember, Eric Partaloo, he actually took the spot of Matty Ryan at Brighton about 6 years ago. They were duking it out for that #1 position in the Premier League. Sanchez ultimately winning out as Matty Ryan headed away from the Seagulls. So it was not quite to plan there from Levi Colwell, and another corner on the way for Western Sydney. Rose. Here's a deflected strike. Oh goodness, that very nearly nestled in the bottom corner there from Emil Katrip.
You just never know. On the edge of the box, deflection, somebody puts a leg out. Very difficult to go direct from the corners for Western Sydney. That's why they're going short. A lot of tall timber in there for Chelsea.
What a moment for one of these youngsters if they can pull off something special here against the really experienced men on this tour for Chelsea. Milanovic does so well, and the strike is not far off from Oscar Morrison. The 19-year-old academy captain just pushing that to the right as Western Sydney threatened to retake the lead.
Well, it's the second time that short corner variation has worked, and Chelsea have not switched on to it. But they're going to be a little bit more composed now. You can just see in that little bit of pressure, Cole Palmer edging his way out of traffic.
There goes Estevao.
Not much much in it, but you can see him just drawing the foul between the two players. It's great to see the Brazilian out there.
Jamie Gittins and Salmino. English international Levi Colwell and Gittins. On the same wavelength there.
A little bit of rust after coming on. No rust in the finish though. And that will please Xabi Alonso. This is what these games are about. It's about reaction. And when the fitness is maybe not there, as a big player at a big club and with a big coaching journey in front of him, you've got to know that your players can come in and change the game. It's not easy when you haven't got your touch or you haven't got your full fitness yet, but you are expected to come in and make a difference. In this game, it hangs in the balance right now for the Wanderers.
Just a reminder as well, this Sydney Super Cup format is that if the match is level at 90 minutes, goes straight to a penalty shootout. Vidakovic. Jai Rose should earn the whistle here and does. Western Sydney, well, they wanted to play advantage. Steve Ugarkovic was keen to keep the momentum rolling. So Milanovic has Katrip. Fullback, I'm told, 25 for Western Sydney. Good engines, according to Ufi Tale. Rose. Some bright moments since he's come in to this game. Jai Rose. Tedrow. Legged. Leading goal scorer across all competitions last year with 20.
Didn't like that one. Right in the sore spot. We went right after Garkovic, straight after it. There's Marco Palestra, Serie A Defender of the Year. And we talk a lot about these players for Chelsea being good in the final third, but that's a really good pickup for Chelsea. Marc Cucurella departing to go to Real Madrid. Yes, left-hand side. He's comfortable, Palestra, in playing both sides. Highest average speed in the Serie A.
He came through the ranks at Atalanta, and then last season, Cagliari. Colwell to Sanchez. Barry just putting a lot of pressure there on Pedro. Now Palmer. Just has so much time, doesn't he? To find the pass. Esteval. Palmer. Nice little clip over the top. Pedro. Under the watchful eye of Emil Katrip, teenager, 17-year-old. So if you're loving this, you don't want to miss tomorrow night Sydney FC versus Tottenham Hotspur from Allianz Stadium. Palmer finding the goal scorer in Gittins. Just to hold the ball up, recycle. cross in front of Vidakovic.
That combination looks really interesting from a Chelsea point of view. Cole Palmer had that groin injury last season that kept him out for a long time. It wasn't until the second half of the season that he really got going, and was it 10 goals, 5 of them from the penalty spot, and people said that he had an average campaign. Didn't make that World Cup squad, everybody knows about it, but it's great to see him come out here tonight in that first game and really try and build a relationship with Gittins, another player who needs to have a big season.
Well, it was a start to the 25-26 campaign, which began so well with that golden ball at the Club World Cup for Palmer. Here come Chelsea again. And it was a moment which you expected the net to bulge there from Estival. In the end, it was a rather tame shot to Vidakovic.
But how good is it watching these players? You know, we see them week in, week out, play at a very, very high level, the highest possibly in the world, and jinking through and slinking through and making it look easy. And yeah, they're not their polished, finished product, but there's some amazing skill on there.
Well, what do they say, Eric? Can you do it on a cool winter's night at a core stadium with jet lag? Well, this has all got a little awkward there. Sanchez mops up. Oh, that's brilliant from Carluccio. Lays it off. Western Sydney are back in front. And it's the leading goal scorer in the NPL this season, Awan Lual. He does it against Premier League opposition as well. And Wanderers, Wonderland is in dreamland right now.
Well, he could do it on a cold winter's night at a core stadium. Awan Lual, the next player off the ranks to score against Chelsea FC. They get caught in possession. Carluccio, a self-proclaimed Chelsea fan, decides not to shoot against his club that he supports. He lays it off perfectly, and on the Harvey Norman replay, goal scorers score goals. And that's what this man has been doing for Western Sydney Wanderers. What a game we are witnessing here. It's 4-3 to the Wanderers.
So the superstars entered the pitch for Chelsea. They found the equaliser. Well, the youngsters from Western Sydney have retaken the lead. It's quite stunning. Palmer, Estival, João Pedro, Levi Colwell, Robert Sanchez on the pitch here for Chelsea. But it's Western Sydney who have found the go-ahead goal. And what I'm so impressed by in that moment, Eric, is Jared Carluccio, the Chelsea nuffy. He's thinking, my name's going up in lights here, I'm about to score, and he lays it off. So unselfish, so impressive from Carluccio in that moment.
I just don't think he wanted to score against Chelsea. No, but great composure. And great composure as well from Awan Lual. A lot of players would have snatched at that, and you can tell that's something they've been working on in the final third.
Well, Chelsea looking to make it 4-4 here. Gittins made it 3-3. Delivers a cross. João Pedro! Chelsea are back. One of their superstars. This time the Brazilian. A clinical finish. Entertainment plus here at a core stadium, and it's 4-4.
This is what the crowd came to see. The top scorer for Chelsea last season in the Premier League. They look for it, and they get the second bite at the cherry, and it's an easy finish for a player of João Pedro's quality. On the Harvey Norman replay, he just strokes it home. Pedro, he drives it in the corner, and we're back on level terms.
Isn't it funny? It's as if they are just toying with the Western Sydney. Just let them get in front, and then, hang on a sec, let's put it into the next gear. Find the equaliser. They've done it again. There's 10 minutes to go here. Remember, if we're locked up at the end, it's a penalty shootout. But right now, Chelsea are looking good here for a fifth. Gittins driving, and Western Sydney have done just enough to deny Cole Palmer.
Well, can we be critical? At this point in time, the shot was on. It was facing the goal, and the run was not clear. I think we're going to find a winner. I don't think we're going to go to penalties.
Are you going third place playoff World Cup, Eric? It's going to be 6-4, set of tennis.
There's one more in this.
Look at that, João Pedro, one shot, one goal. Sanchez just urging some more width from his side. Launches it towards Gittins. How about that first touch? Just cushions it beautifully. João Pedro, Gittins blocked off. João Pedro has another chance. Oh, and Oscar Morrison. I don't know how much he knew about that. It was a rather nervy prod.
You can see Esteval there asking for the extra pass. It's only a matter of time, we feel.
Esteval in the short corner. It's Cole Palmer got those boots. Flashes it away. Would have been a special way to put Chelsea back in front.
What a game.
How good's it been? Well, they haven't been in front since very early on in this match. The opening 10 minutes when they took the lead. Through Sampaio, Panterzopoulos equalised in the 14th minute, and since then it's been either level or Western Sydney have been in front. Western Sydney taking a 2-1, 3-2 and a 4-3 lead. Chelsea pegging them back on each occasion.
I think it's fair to say that they've got a lot of work to do, Chelsea. I know this is not the team that will play the first game of the season, but in terms of what Joey Alonso has asked, from trying to play out from the back and trying to build that relationship through the press and playing around it hasn't worked tonight. And this is great food for thought for him, as you can see him now talking with his assistant coaches. There's a lot to work on, a lot to gain from this fixture, and they haven't got time in this job.
Here's a real opportunity. João Pedro screaming for it in the middle. It may not matter. Here goes Esteval. Side netting. The Blues fans were up here in Accor Stadium. They thought it was 5-4.
Absolutely explosive. Look at him burst forward, but Tristan Vidakovic just gets a toe to it.
Six minutes remaining. You would expect there won't be much stoppage time. There's only one in the first half, usually very little in these kind of matches. Can Chelsea find the winner here? Gittins lays it off. They're all being unselfish. Awan Luar links with Rose, who gets taken down from behind. Oh, Daniel Elder says no free kick, and Ulfi Tale is going off on the sideline. Look at him, even in a friendly. He is filthy with that decision. And Chelsea, is this the moment? João Pedro! .5-4 to Chelsea. And the Brazilian superstar, their leading goal scorer last season, on the double.
More fuel to the fire for João Pedro, left out of the Brazilian World Cup squad. Can you believe it? Ulfi Tale says that's a foul in the middle of the pitch. It doesn't matter. It's that man there, Cole Palmer, pulling the strings. And you thought he'd lost the opportunity. Goal scorers, they want to score the goal that they're ready for. and they want to try and make it as easy as possible, but that looked like a difficult one for João Pedro. But in the end, he's just got too much quality in that right boot. He's got himself a double.
So Pedro makes it 5-4. Ufuk Talay, the Western Sydney coach, he is furious with that decision on the halfway line, right in front of him. Had a chat to the fourth official as well. To be fair, he probably has every right to be. It looked to be a bit of force in that little battle with Jai Rose. But in the end, the referee said it was shoulder to shoulder. Play on. Chelsea take advantage and they take the lead for the first time since the 14th minute. The Western Sydney have something else here. Here's Waraga hanging it up just over the head. The chasing men in red and black. He goes up for the header. Helped on by Katrib. Problems here. Sanchez has come a little from goal. Milanovic squares it across the face. They've got a few chances here, Western Sydney, now with Barry. Surely they couldn't make this 5-5. One thing for sure tonight, all the fans are going away thoroughly entertained. What an enthralling match of football to begin the Sydney Super Cup. If you liked what you've seen here tonight, grab your tickets for tomorrow night. Sydney FC taking on Tottenham, and then it is Chelsea and Tottenham on Saturday night here at Accor Stadium. Don't want to miss that one. There's not too many tickets left, so you better snap them up quickly. Esteban, Palestra. Oh, that's neat from the Italian. Earns a corner.
That right-hand side's going to be exciting for Chelsea. Check out the footwork. Dazzling the crowd. Playing and moving, and then Palestra says, I'll show you a trick of my own. Have some of that.
Substitution for our Western Sydney Wanderers.
Western Sydney going to make another change here. It's Giorgio Hasarati. He's going to replace Jai Rose. Really impressed Jai Rose in his second half. Looking forward to seeing him again in the A-League this campaign. Hasarati gets a couple of minutes to run around here at Accor Stadium. Is there a 6 for Chelsea? Free header at the back post, and it's a scramble. And I reckon João Pedro has forced it over the line for a hat-trick. 6-4 to the Blues.
Well, you did get your scoreline from the third place in the World Cup. But this man wasn't at the World Cup. Maybe you should have been. The delivery, the runs, nobody picking up for the Wanderers. It should have gone in from there. Poacher's instincts from João Pedro, making a real impact on this game. And he hasn't really got out of second gear. And that's what the good players do.
A free header, to be fair. Wesley Fofana, he'll be looking back at that thinking I should have made it count from the first opportunity. But in the end, João Pedro, the superstar, didn't play at the World Cup, as you said, Eric. Carlo Ancelotti deciding on a different squad. Maybe the inclusion of Neymar in the end resulted in him missing out. So he's another player who's going to come into this season fresh after not playing in the World Cup.
All the Italians will be in the same boat, looking for a point to prove, not playing in the Summers World Cup. Cole Palmer's another player for Chelsea, so that's only going to be a positive if you're a Chelsea FC fan, you're going to have a lot of hungry players out there looking to prove a point.
So Western Sydney, as though they are going to make another couple of changes. It's Marcus Savage and Alat Abdul Rahman. Nathan Barry gives a breather, came into the game in the first half after that injury for Herman Ferreira. Atia Waraga gets replaced, so Abdul Rahman slots in there for Vitale's men. A couple of minutes remaining. Entertainment right until the very end of this one. Coming from his blind side, and there's a whistle for contact on Palestra. It has hurt the Italian.
Both players just putting their legs up there, and yeah, I mean, we're lucky this is not going to be in the realms of being reviewed. It's a mistimed tackle, shall we say, from the substitute, but it is high enough to be dangerous.
I'll tell you what, well, he's been yellow carded Alat Abdul Rahman. I was almost going to say, what happened? I didn't want to say it when he came on, but now I can refer to it. It was on his A-League debut. I reckon he came on with about 2 minutes to go and he got a yellow card in that time as well. So he's a player that gets himself about. He gets himself into the thick of the action. Alat Abdul Rahman. Just the 3 A-League appearances, that debut February 2025. Against MacArthur. So Palestra hits the pitch again.
He's got to be careful here. Abdul Rahman.
Let's say they won't be swapping shirts, I reckon. So that is full time. And it's Chelsea who continue their undefeated pre-season run in Australia dating back to 1965. And look at the players swarm João Pedro. Who's going to get that number 20 shirt of the Brazilian? The Aussie 16-year-old Marty Nicole Jazuli playing his part in the second half. After being behind for a large portion of tonight's match, Chelsea, they came back with the superstars, Palmer, Estevao, João Pedro, Levi Colwell coming into the game. And full time, it finishes Chelsea FC 6, Western Sydney Wanderers 4. And Eric Partaloo, we were thoroughly entertained tonight. João Pedro, what a performance from him, coming off the bench, late on and nabbing a hat-trick.
It's been a really impressive game, Ben, this evening. I really enjoyed watching the Wanderers in terms of them re-establishing themselves and having a new identity under Ufuk Talay. You could see it, it was clear for everybody to see. And for Chelsea FC, there's a lot of homework to be done. Yes, they scored 6, but they conceded 4. It's a big first step for Xabi Alonso, but as he would have said, maybe, winning 1-0's no fun. Winning 6-4, you know that there's been a lot of action.
And Chelsea, they will rest up, get over a bit more jet lag before they prepare for that big clash on Saturday against Tottenham. For Western Sydney, though, Eric, they'll be pretty happy with the hit out as well.
Just love the pressure that they put on Chelsea. They did not take a backward step. They were not overawed by the occasion. They didn't sit in and just wait for Chelsea to break them down. They really smelt blood in the water. It was a really impressive performance, and I think the Wanderers fans have got something to cheer about this year.
Well, it's time now to head downstairs to Daniel Garb for the post-game show.